So back with another video, and this one's a follow-on from the last video that I was doing about emotional suppression. How to identify every time you are aligned with something that doesn't serve you. So how to identify something you are aligned with that doesn't serve you. Now this is why the ability to feel any emotion is important to us. What we have done for thousands of years is not looked at our own negativity, not truly looked into it. Instead, what we do is, through avoidance, we look at the situation, trying to control the situation. That is the number one. The more you try to control your life, the more control you try to put on life, is a reflection of how much emotional pain you are trying to control within. Now, everybody is trying to control. Everybody is trying to control their reality for the sole purpose of emotional avoidance. So look at your life and look at, because whenever I do these videos, it's always about, if you're listening, it's an opportunity for you to reflect and see whether what I say is aligns with you, whether you get that understanding of yourself. So the key to realizing what doesn't serve you is the feeling. Now let me describe the feeling. The feeling is always, or starts and can move up to the heart area, so you might feel heaviness on the chest, but it always starts in the stomach, the solar plexus. So anytime, and if you're really vibing with these kind of videos, then see if it's true in your own reality. So the next time you feel negative, I want you to observe not just the thoughts about the situation, but the feeling. And as I was saying, that feeling is located in the solar plexus. It's a real heaviness. It's a real tension, a real tightness, a real contraction. Now, if we only stay aligned with our thinking minds, we don't become aware of the feeling. And to break identification with these thought patterns, with these negative thought patterns, we have to become aware of the emotion behind them. Now, when you become aware of the emotion, what actually happens is, instead of being so focused on the thoughts, instead of being absorbed in the negative thoughts, we bring our focus out of our thinking and we become aware of the feeling. And then we hold the feeling, we ground ourselves in the feeling, we allow the feeling to be there. Now, when we go through this internal awakening, we become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Now, when we initially start this, there's so much of a heaviness there. And sometimes, especially in the start, it feels so overpowering. You can't help but become that emotion. You can't help it. But every time you come out of that emotion, you gain more clarity of it. So if you're very new to teachings or talks of this kind, then the chances are your emotion, what you're identified emotionally, will keep taking you over. But the more you gain awareness of the feeling, and the more you are able to hold your attention on the feeling, which is to feel it, to allow it to be there, to allow it to integrate, you begin to take the charge out of it. Now, if you look at every human being, what is false? What is control? What is resistance? It's false. It's all false. Now, if we look at the negative emotion behind it is false. So we have to begin to take the false out of it. We have to begin to take the power out of it. And the only way we can begin to take the power out of it is not expressing it, but holding it consciously, by feeling it consciously, by absorbing it, by allowing the consciousness that you are to integrate that part. Now, integration is not rejection. Control and resistance are rejection. They're forms of rejecting. They're forms of rejecting of this emotional pain that we contain and we express it. But as we go through an awakening, we become aware and we become in tune with the emotion, we begin to feel it. And as we begin to feel it, we begin to integrate it. But not only that, when we have awareness of the feeling, we can become aware of the thought patterns that are associated with it. So instead of being stuck in the thought patterns, by holding the feeling, you can see what's arising out of the feeling. You can see what the thought pattern is that is arising out of the feeling. Now, once you have done this a number of times, you will notice every time the emotion comes up, you express it, you feel good because you've expressed it, but you haven't consciously held it. As you consciously hold it and hold it and hold it and hold it, and you get better and you gain more and more clarity of what you're identified with, you take the charge out of it. Now, the less of a charge it has, the less of a power it has over you, the less you become it. And what actually happens now, when I began my awakening, I was so charged. Like, I was so charged, the simplest thing would trigger me off, and I'd just go off on one. And I took that out on my family, I took that out on my close ones, I took that out on people in the street. But the more I become comfortable with being uncomfortable and holding it and understanding it and feeling it and integrating it, the lesser and lesser and lesser it came. And to the point now where I am very rarely ever moved from my centre. There is not a lot that comes up and consciously takes me over. And through this process, what actually happens is you begin to let go of reality. You begin to let go of trying to control, because you're no longer trying to control your emotional pain. And then as you let go of the control, your reality begins to shift. Your reality is the tail end of your thoughts and beliefs. Your thoughts and beliefs have created your reality. And so when you let go of control, you no longer see, and when you gain the ability to integrate more and more and more, then your reality begins to reflect the fact that you are more whole, that you are more complete. So what actually happens, and I see this every day so much more from the dysfunctional, destructive background that I come from, to the point now where, like, literally, and I mean literally, everything goes my way. Everything falls into place. I find myself that I don't need to, that there is no clashing with reality, because I realise that the more whole and complete I am within, the more whole and complete my reality is. But it's all in the feeling. It's self-mastery, it's truly understanding yourself. Truly understanding that you are consciousness, that you create reality. That you are the creator of reality. Now, when you take that power and you truly realise that, then you are responsible for the crap that you're seeing in your world. And if you're seeing crap in your world, it's not because shit just happens to you and life just happens to you. The reason you are seeing shit in your life and in your world is because you are identified with shit inside. And then life is reflecting that back at you. So if you hold shit, you get shit. You see shit. Your life is shit. Gain clarity of yourself, gain true awareness of what's going on within, and your reality will begin to shift into peace, prosperity, abundance, love, connection, intimacy. You don't even need to change anybody around you. Just by being more whole, you are more alive within. There is more light within you. And because there is more light within you, when you take that in, it carries a different vibration, it carries a different frequency, and the people that you are around will instantly feed off that. And they might not even know, where you're at inside. It's amazing now how many people you walk past and you don't realise where somebody truly is. But holding that frequency, holding that completeness, holding that light is infectious to other people. So, in the new year, I've got many retreats running. Some are going to be in the UK, but I'm hoping to do some abroad as well. They're going to be sort of 3-4 day retreats where it's about understanding and developing yourself. And I mean truly understanding and truly developing yourself, reaching new levels of self-awareness, reaching new levels of consciousness, reaching new understandings. So if you resonate with these teachings, you resonate with anything that I say, then head over to my Facebook, inbox me if you're interested in any of the retreats coming up in the new year, because I'm starting off with small group retreats. And as I was saying, it's all about conscious integration, changing your life, changing your reality. But that was a little video. The key to understanding yourself is understanding your emotions. Till the next one, love and light.